I now declare the public hearing open for consideration of zone change 15-1, a request by Charles Scott for a zone map amendment from the existing ranching, agriculture, and mining zoning district to the suburban residential 2 zoning district on a 9.3 acre parcel. The property is addressed as 15235 State Highway 487. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. I would ask that those individuals who wish to speak, who wish to address the commission, please approach the lectern and state your name and address. May we have a report from staff?
So, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this evening we do have a zone map amendment request from the Ram zoning district to the SR2 zoning district by the Bates Creek Cattle Company. Zoning location, it's a 9.3 acre tract. The property's address is 15235 State Highway 487. We're located approximately 13 miles west of the city of Casper. Surrounding zoning is Ram, except south adjacent is SR2. There's also a section of the Ram directly north of it. Here's our subject property. Here, to be oriented, we've got Highway 220 here. We've got 487 coming off. This is the former Clark's Corner location. Our subject property is this triangular piece located on the west side of the highway. Here's a zoning map. This crosshatch would represent the Ram zoning district. This would represent the SR2 zoning district. The red located here adjacent is commercial. Key issues. Will approving the zone change violate the 2000 Natrona County zoning resolution? An applicant must demonstrate that at least one of the 6 criteria is met for the approval to be consistent with the zoning resolution. This evening, gentlemen, I'm going to focus on 2 of the key ones, criteria number 1 and criteria number 5. The first criteria, is it necessary to come into compliance with the Natrona County Development Plan? The 1998 land plan does not recommend residential growth for this area. The recommended land uses in this area are grazing and continued zoning of ranching, agricultural, and mining. Rezoning this approximate 9.3 acre parcel into SR2 at this location is not necessary to come in compliance with the Natrona County Development Plan. Criteria number 5, the land or its surrounding environs has changed or is changing to such a degree that it is in the public's interest to encourage a redevelopment of that area or recognize a change of character in the area. The surrounding environs have not changed since the adoption of the land plan. Several of the existing lots have been developed and increased housing demands countywide have occurred. That's referring to the SR2 directly further to the west of that area. Since 1998, 18 single-family dwelling homes have been permitted, approximately from the location of Coal Mountain Road in 220 to Trapper's Route in 220. So I've taken kind of a broad view of that entire area. Within that time frame, 18 single-family dwelling building permits have been issued. In 2011, as a result of countywide growth west of Casper, the Natrona County Development Department did propose a rezoning of large sections of Ram into urban agriculture. An open house was conducted and significant opposition was received from large landowners who wished to preserve the Ram zoning. The voicing to maintain Ram zoning reinforces the presumed stance of the 1998 land plan to not recommend rezoning at this location. The surrounding environs or character has not changed since the land plan. Public comment. To date, Natrona County Development has not received any public comment for or against this application. Planning and zoning recommendation. At their February 10th, 2014 meeting, Planning and Zoning acted unanimously to recommend approval of the proposed zone change because the application meets criteria 5. The land or the surrounding environs has changed or has changed to such a degree that it's in the public's interest to encourage a redevelopment of the area or to recognize a change of character in the area. Discussion during the meeting of criteria 5 were based upon the presumption that while the adjacent subdivision, SR2 to the south there, was created prior to the land plan, minimal growth had occurred in 1998. Therefore, residential growth at this location was not identified during the time of the land plan. Additional conversation occurred that potentially the land plan did not recommend growth at this location to limit urban sprawl, and the Planning and Zoning Commission did not consider this potential growth as urban sprawl. Staff review. Staff does not have sufficient evidence to support the requirement to meet one of the 6 criteria for the approval of the proposed zone change. Staff has recommended denial of both the Planning and Zoning and this evening. Staff understands the purpose of this application was to sell a small portion of the land that does not significantly contribute to the Bates Creek Cattle Company. Staff has considered the construction of homes, 18 single-family dwellings in the area since 1998. This growth has occurred on previously created lots and is consistent with current zoning. This subject property is unique because of the following. State Highway 487 divides the subject acreage of 9.3 acres from the larger property on the east side of the road. And through some title search here in the courthouse, I can trace that back to approximately 1946 is when there were some rights of ways given in that area. And the presumption is that is in fact when that swath was established in there. Property currently has a home on it, so approving this zone change singularly will not increase the residential density in that area. If any further dividing of this property would be proposed, if the zone change was approved, this would require a major subdivision and associated process with similar questions. With that, I'd entertain any questions that the Commission may have.
Can you go back to the map for us so we can?
This one here?
Yes.
Okay, so again, we've got the subject property here as part of a larger parcel this way.
So, is there access off the highway to this property?
Currently, there is a residential approach off of 487 that serves a modular home that is there.
So there is a home on the property?
That's correct.
Okay. And this piece has become isolated to Bates Creek and difficult to use, I would assume.
That the applicant has indicated that planning and zoning that this was not a significant benefit to the ranch, and it was being used as a ranch house at one time. And I see the applicant is here, so they can shed a little more light on it. But the comment was made at planning and zoning that they would much rather ranch than be landlords at this particular location.
Okay. Any further questions for Mr. Gutierrez? Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion. Oh, yeah, we'll do that part. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of ZC 15-1 to please approach the lectern. And if you would, please give us your name and address.
My name is Andy Anderson. I live on Bates Street Cattle Company at 13930 State Highway 487, Casper. I'm part owner and representing Bates Street Cattle. And just like Jason said, it was used as a ranch house. I think it's been over 5 years ago since I've come back to the ranch, since it has been a ranch house. For 81, it's just been a rental property. It is isolated. It's not suitable for grazing cattle, and that's our business.
So sell it.
It has a well on it and a septic, but it's not very suitable for additional housing. The well is marginal to start with versus. If there's any questions that I can answer about the parcel.
And down there in the colored piece just south of there, there's several houses in that piece in there that it joins.
There are. Not every parcel has a house on it right now. It's a little bit more open than what it seems right there. I think multiple lots are owned by the same person.
So what will this achieve for you guys? Are you intending to sell it?
We are intending to sell it just to get out of the landlord business. And we just don't have the time or the desire to rent it.
And you don't really have any plans to re-divide it?
No,
Just,
no, we would sell it as the 9.3 acre parcel as it is.
okay. Any other questions from Mr. Anderson? Thank you.
Thank you.
For the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of zone change 15-1 to please approach the lectern. And for the third and final time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of zone change 15-1 to please approach the lectern. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of zone change 15-1 to please approach the lectern.
Kind of makes it spot though.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Paul Pad, 2781 Cherokee Lane. Obviously, I don't have any property right next to this or anything like that. I guess my concern right here is what kind of precedents would you be setting if you did grant this zone change, in that it doesn't meet any of the criteria that it says in their zoning resolutions that must be met. You know, they must need at least one of those 6, and it really meets none of those. I understand they want to sell that off, and I guess I'm wondering if there's a way. I know that for current zoning has to be 35 acres, I believe, is a minimum for that. I don't know, can they split that off, keep the same zoning or what to sell it? But I guess I would say I would go back to my contention that I've had for a long time with this board, is that you have resolutions in place, you have rules. I'd say let's follow them. I mean, there's nothing according to the resolution that allows this to be changed. Like I said, you have 6 specific criteria, one of which must be met, and none of them are met, so I don't think you have any choice but to deny this zone change. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Pack? And, well, we'll get there later. At this time, I would ask, for the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of zone change 15-1 to please approach the lectern.
Oh, my baby's back. I missed you. Good afternoon, Judy Jones. I don't think I'm really speaking in opposition to it. I just remember what we go through all the time when we're talking about spot zoning and how if you change a piece of property in the middle of everything that's surrounded. Of course, this is surrounded 3 sides by on-ramp. So if you change that to SR1, it'd be spot zoning. And that's what you guys keep trying to avoid when you're doing zone changes. And secondly, it's kind of unusual that you would go from RAM and jump all the way up to SR. Because usually there's like a little step you follow and it goes RAM, and then somebody might change it into UA and then go to SR. So there's kind of a big jump there to me. And secondly, if he's trying to change that so that he can maybe get more money out of it, that's basically all he's looking for, is to get more money out of it by having the zone change. Because RAM land, we all know, is dirt cheap. But when you get into SR2 and SR1, the land becomes more valuable. So I'm just saying, be careful about the spot zoning thing, because I remember us having a lot of trouble with that the last few years. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And to that, Jason, could you, I believe it's south, isn't that the same as what they're applying for? Is what's to the south there?
The zoning area is SR2, so this would be contiguous to SR2 zoning, so it would not be small.
So it's not 12, okay, that's.
Oh, I don't know.
For the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of zone change 15-1 to please approach the lectern. And for the third and final time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of zone change 15-1 to please approach the lectern.
Yeah.
Hearing no one or no others
It's
to
spot
speak
zoning,
for
and
or
they've been
against
touched
zone
it for
change
years.
15-1, I now declare this public hearing closed. Commissioner Henry.
I would move to approve the zone change 15-1-A.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Just for clarification purposes, here. I would like the motion to reflect what criteria that the board finds that has been satisfied. I'll agree with Mr. Pad. When this board's job to determine if any of those 6 criteria have been met, and so please just move the motion out to include which of the ones
And
that have been met.
can we do that after the discussion? Can it just amend the motion?
No.
We can get the motion and the second on the floor, and then have our discussion and bring out that.
Then we'll have to go
And then
through
we'll
the
have to
process
amend
of making a motion to amend the motion. And
That's right.
that can happen that way, sir.
That keeps with the process.
Mr. Chairman. The reason we have done this before on Casper Mountain Road. I remember there was a piece up there that was totally useless to the person across the road. And so this does not set the precedent. The other thing is you've got a ranch out there that because of the highway, no fault of their own, because of the highway going through there, it split off a 9.3 acre piece. It's totally useless to them. They tried to put a house on it, doesn't work very good. It meets the area right south of it is the same zoning. So just change the zoning and sell that 9.3 acres. I mean, it's totally useless to a ranch, but it does meet the criteria that the house is right south of it. So go ahead and sell it. Now, how we make that work, I have not studied, but it makes sense to let them do that.
And for me, Mr. Chairman, I would argue that it meets criteria number 6 because this is a need that the ranchers didn't first anticipate, and they wanted to get out of the landlord business and sell off pieces of that their cattle just can't necessarily graze because of the highway. And so I would argue that it was a need that wasn't anticipated at the time of the adoption of the Natrona County Development Plan.
Thank you.
I would say it meets number 6.
Commissioner Schlager, Commissioner Lawson, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to add to what Mr. Keating just said, this is a very unique situation that wasn't anticipated at the time, particularly when the land use plan was developed in 1998. Obviously, it's been used, at least in recent times here, just like a residential piece of property. It has one house on it that's been rented out for residential purposes. It's adjacent to the other residential property. And I believe also, since the recent change that we approved a few weeks ago, that if it was to be further subdivided, it would have to go into a major subdivision process that we just adopted. And so if there's fear that that's going to be further subdivided, they're still going to have to come back to the county commissioners and go through a major subdivision process. So I would think that regardless of what the 6 criteria is I would think that it's still in the preview of the county commissioners to be able to recognize the uniqueness of this situation. It is adjacent to R2. It has been used recently just like it's R2, and I would think that we would have that ability to recognize that and have some flexibility.
Thank you. Commissioner Schlager, anything?
I don't believe I have anything other than what's already been said.
I have a question for the applicant, Mr. Anderson, if you would please. Do you believe that there is one of these 6 criteria or more than one that it meets?
I agree with Mr. Keating that meets criteria 6 very well.
Do you think that the nature of the neighborhood has been changed?
I do not believe it will change the nature of this neighborhood at all.
But I'm talking about from 1998 to today. There's been 18 homes built in that area.
Whoopee.
Does that meet criterion number 5, that the nature of the neighborhood has changed. Would you agree with that?
Yes, when we were here at the planning commission meeting, I thought it fit in multiple categories, but 5 and 6 seem to fit very well. Changes have occurred out in this area. There has been more houses built. So it does not look out of place, and I don't believe that you could put another house on this and really start developing the area. If you make us do a 40-acre parcel here, then you might have that option of coming back in later to do a full subdivision review to actually get that broken up, whoever we sell this to. So if we sell just 9 acres, I don't think that would ever be approved by this board to subdivide into another parcel to put a house on. So pretty much this would limit it to a single house on this parcel.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you know, if we make him do a 40-acre piece and go through the whole subdivision deal, this piece is still south of the highway. It's still isolated from the rest of that 40. So you really haven't helped yourself any if you make him do the whole 40. So I think he's right the way it is.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Henry, would you accept a friendly amendment from one of the other commissioners to include one or more of the conditions? Sure. That it does meet that?
Could I comment quickly?
Mr. Knight?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to comment on criteria 6, and because it's been discussed, it was not discussed by planning staff. The requirement of criteria 6 is it provides for a community need that was not anticipated at the time of the adoption of the Natrona County Development Plan. There is no such thing as a zoning resolution that doesn't impose some type of restrictions on the property owner. That's what zoning resolutions do. So you can't judge, and the criteria does not say that it can be rezoned when the landowner needs change.
That's right.
So I don't see that legally it could fit in that criteria. There has been no evidence presented of any community need that would be served by a change of this zoning resolution. And I think would be well advised, if you accept my legal advice, is to not find under criteria 6 when in fact there's been no evidence presented to this board that a community need is being served by a rezoning of that. There were 2 discussed, and that's the discretion of this board. As far as precedential value, it was mentioned, zoning resolutions are applications that are viewed on the specific facts to the specific piece of property, so you have very little precedential value. What the court does call that is when you make a decision that's outside none of the criteria. That's called arbitrary and capricious, and you guys know that. But it's certainly within this board's discretion, if you so find, and I don't know if you will or not, but to find that one of the other ones are met. But I would hope that we would avoid criteria 6 at this board, since there's been no evidence presented on that matter.
Commissioner Henry?
Then number 5 says the land where it's surrounding environs has changed. I would say that because of the SR2s directly south of that has changed that.
And I think that's certainly within your discretion to make that finding.
So
And you can make that amendment to your
well,
motion.
I would say that we would do it then based on criteria 5.
Okay. Agree. Anybody at the second agree with that?
It does.
Okay. You've amended your motion. Second is agreed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Did we miss
Was that vote on the amendment?
No, he amended his motion.
But I think we had to have a vote on the amendment, which was approved. So now we would vote on the original resolution.
Okay. Now for the main motion. Is there any further discussion?
I know.
If not, all those in
Don't start.
favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, public comments. We would entertain any public comments at this time.
Be a good time to adopt some
And please
procedures.
state your name and address.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Paul Pat, 2781 Cherokee Lane. I'll back up to this just for a second. If you look just to the west of that triangle, I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with that little piece of property there now that you have surrounded it with other zoning. So, something to think about that I don't think anybody did. Anyways, appreciate the Selectmen being back.
Hey,
Kind of, yes, I've always been kind of disappointed it took this long to get here, but that's where we're at on that. Just wanted to basically thank you for bringing this back. Finally, giving people a chance to stand up here with a little more confidence, a little more ease in being able to address the board. So I really don't have any other comments tonight other than I'm kind of disappointed that you did this because even staff recognized that there were none of these criteria seemed to be met. I think you really were stretching to get 5 on this one. But, cause I think doesn't that say it has to change since 98 or 2000 or something? Wasn't that what the criteria was? I don't recall, I have it in front of me. But anyways, just thanks for bringing this back, and that's it for tonight.
Any questions for Mr. Pat? Mr. Gutierrez, I believe you did, we did have a conversation about that property to the west, and that they were offered an opportunity to go along with the R2 or SR2 and decline.
even more reason it should be turned down.
This subject property owner here was contacted by the applicant, and he did explain that during planning zone, they tried to contact this one so they could bring in a holistic solution for the neighborhood to be presented. Unfortunately, this property owner was not willing to be part of that conversation with the applicant.
That should speak volumes.
Are there any other public comments? If not, commissioner comments. Commissioner Keating.
20 plus years ago, there was a pediatrician named Dr. Shannon who was